social distancing and, talking on the phones. Well, first of all, I really do want to welcome you to the Talking Pictures podcast and the show. I couldn't be a luckier person than to chat with my friend Aimee Lynn Chadwick.
Oh, likewise.
We went over this before a little bit, but I want to do it again, so the people understand your backstory, because acting, theater, television, it's been in your blood since you were a little girl.
Yeah. And writing, I have so many notebooks of just filled with just words. I write songs. I write poems and stories ever since I was little. Like my first poem I ever wrote was in kindergarten. Really? And I attribute my love of writing, which I think goes hand in hand with words, like scripts. You know what I mean? I think it's just all of it is art to me, but I'm obsessed with words.
I bet you didn't know this about me, is that I also am a lyricist and a poet.
I did not know that.
One of my best friends, and he's passed on now, but one of my best friends, and I worked for him for a little while, was a guy named Harry Chapin. Mm-hmm. And Harry wrote songs like Taxi, like Cats in the Cradle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he sat me down as a young man and showed me, how to put out a lyric, how to write a lyric for a song, and it's a really interesting process to do that.
Yeah.
It's not easy, is it, Aimee Lynn?
It's not easy when you for my process. I think everyone's process is different. But if I tell myself, okay, I'm going to sit down and write something, I find that a little bit more daunting than I write stream of consciousness. Sometimes I'll if I start writing, the muse comes and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I just wrote 5 songs and I don't remember writing it. And then I'll read it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wrote that? I don't remember it. But yeah.
Are you a musician at heart or an actress first?
I get that question, obviously, my whole entire life. And I was just talking about this with someone yesterday, because have you watched Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I adore that show. And people are like, well, how do these actors, how do they train them to sing? And I'm like, hello, I grew up in theater, musical theater. You are trained from the time that you start to do both. Acting and singing, I think, go hand in hand. And look at Judy Garland and everything back in the day. They had the music inside of them. For me, acting is it's both cathartic. Writing music is my journal. It's my way of expressing my personal self, and then the acting is a way of expressing that other side.
When I interview singers who are actors as well, and the last one I talked to was Lady Gaga. Uh-huh. I always ask this question: do you find rhythms in your acting roles because of the music? Do you hear your characters kind of pace themselves or sing themselves to you, basically? Like
a cadence.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've never even heard that question. Good question, Tony. You must be a pro. I do. And I'll tell you why. Memorization. It's, you have that when you're memorizing your lines. And I will use Cinderella story as an example. I still know my lines from that movie because it's kind of like a song in my head. Buenos dias, fighting frogs. Here's your daily drought reminder. Conserve agua. Cut your shower short. Brownie points go out to Mr. Rothman, who hasn't had one in weeks. So interesting. That's interesting.
One of the things about singing, and I'm saying this really badly, is that a singer has to go out on concert and make that song that he sung or she sung 1,000 times sound like the very first time.
Yeah.
Every performance, they have to do that. Does that help you in your acting world? Because of delivery, of how you have to put your emotions into the lyrics of a script?
Sure. I would say it helps in both ways. and it goes back to like musical theater. Like if you're in Broadway, you have to act your butt off and sing your butt off. Like it's the first time, people are paying a lot of money. And I think if you're in those worlds, yeah, like you go into that moment. I think acting experience does also help with the singing, like being able to do that, because you know how to like get yourself grounded and into that place again. Like, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. How new were you when you walked on the set of Cinderella Story?
That was my first film. Like that was my first, I had been on sets for local commercials in like Boston and New York. I'm from the East Coast. And I had done a couple things in LA, tire commercial, just, you know, and then the Michael Jackson thing. But that was my very first, like, yeah, that was my first time on a big time movie set where there's 6 main characters and I'm one of them. I was pretty, and I had pink hair. Like
At least you had hair.
Right. Well, good point. I don't think my head would be able to pull it off, but it was intimidating for sure, because I thought, you know, I'm supposed to be this blonde, like pretty LA, like Hollywood girl, and here I come on set and I have pink hair and my character's like kind of brooding, and I've never been on a set before, and like there's Hilary Duff and like she's sitting next to me, and that was cool because she treated me normal, like I was an equal. And so I can't say the same for a different person on the set, but I won't name names. But for the most part, every single person, like really having that relationship and them treating you like you were just one of them felt cool. But yeah, I was terrified.
I imagine so, but you learn very quickly etiquette, you know, set etiquette. One of the things Jodie Foster told me was that's something she had to go through from being very young, you know, is learning who to sit with or where to sit, or, you know, because even though people are kind, you're dealing with unions, you're dealing with a lot of stuff. And boy, if you ever eat before a union guy eats, it's
oh yeah,
really
and you don't know.
good.
Your biggest allies on set, I will say, if you're just starting out, are your hair and makeup people.
Yeah.
Like they're your therapists, they are your champions and your cheerleaders, and they ask them questions. Like they're there to like help. And they don't get enough credit. They're amazing. And also make friends with the lighting people. I didn't know that. I just am obsessed with lighting. I think it's like, and I would always be like, wow, like that looks so cool. And I would ask questions to the lighting guys. And then next thing I know, I'm like, oh, I looked actually good in that scene.
So
They're like, yeah, because you kissed up to the lighting people.
Here's something we have in common. I actually took lighting techniques from a guy named Ron Poindexter.
Ooh.
Who is like royalty in theater. He developed all the lighting for the original Broadway productions of Oklahoma and Music Man and things like that. And I was lucky enough to take lighting classes from him, and we, you know, and it is such a wonderful art.
It's like people I don't think they realize like how much lighting is a character in a film, or, you know, like it's just, oh, I love it. I'm so dorky. And
Steven Spielberg, of course, has a very easy explanation of lighting. He'll hold the flashlight up here and go, love story, horror story.
Yeah.
You know, so it is about how the lighting works and how it informs the film.
Yeah, and to do it in a way where the viewer doesn't even realize it.
How much does costuming inform you?
Inform me?
Yeah. When, you know, does costuming play a part in how you develop a character?
Sure. Yeah. I have so many clothes. That's, I think, for myself even, ever since I was little, like it's an expression of me. And so I know like when I'm in a character and I'm dressed a certain way, it's a lot easier for me to like be in that person's shoes, literally.
Well, with Tinsel, she has a specific wardrobe
Oh,
or
yeah.
thought pattern. But if you're
Sure.
playing, let's say, the wife of a senator, she's
Right?
not going to be Tinsel. So I
No,
imagine those differences help you with character development.
absolutely. We have a running joke with the Tinsel crew. It's like the second the extensions go in, like without a doubt, I turn into Tinsel. And I've had interviews. I remember showing up to an interview that someone wanted to interview Tinsel. And so I showed up, but I had like played a show the night before with my band. So my hair was like a little like, it looked cute, but I was dressed a little bit more punk rock than they were expecting. And I walked in and the guy was like, "What's going on?" And then I was like, "What?" I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Wait, you don't really talk like that?" I'm like, "Well, no, I mean, sometimes," but, and he's like, "Whoa, I thought that was you." And so and I'm like, "No, once those extensions come out, I'm Aimee." But once they go in, yeah, you turn into that character. And I got a part in a little locally Hallmark movie, and I played a reporter. And I was like, I don't really feel like a reporter. Like I need to like, yeah, you need to they put my hair back and they put me in the outfit. I'm like, oh, suddenly I am here to report.
Now I'm
Like,
a reporter.
yeah, like, so for sure. Absolutely. Costuming, makeup, hair.
Well, let's talk about Tinseltown, Tinseltown,
Tinseltown,
because
yeah.
it's a brilliantly written show, and people can see it on YouTube.
They
Um,
can, but if you want to see it in its entirety, go to tinseltown.com, because we kind of moved away from the YouTube thing. And so people don't realize that there is an arc and there is a storyline. Tinseltown was a prequel to a backdoor pilot called The Lullaby League. You can get information on that on IMDb. But
it's in production. It's in
yeah,
pre-production.
we're just waiting on funding,
Well,
as everyone says. But it's brilliant. Like David Barry, who wrote it, is probably he's brilliant. He's, and not to mention, just the nicest, wonderful, kind-hearted human being. And his mind is just so good. It's so good. And so Lullaby League basically was what he wrote. And it is a aging actors, like nursing home kind of for aging actresses, divas. So it's kind of like Golden Girls meets, modern day. But then Tinsel is this character who became Instagram famous. And then she has her Lindsay Lohan decline, and she needs to serve some time and do community service. So her community service is being forced to work at this aging actresses like
wow.
home. And so when people read, they loved his script and they loved the idea, but they're like, but who is Tinsel? And so what he did was he made a web series to try and show people where it started and who this character is, because she's so kooky.
The show is delightfully. It's so bizarre and fun. You must have a ball doing it.
I do. When we shot the first time, it was 8 days. It's 27 episodes. I was like, there's lots of words.
Okay, let's stop right there. 8 days. You shot 27 episodes in 8 days.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. Like I lived off of Diet Dr. Pepper and coffee, and at some points, because there were so many words, I was like, there's no way I can memorize all of this. And so I had words everywhere, just taped up. Like the camera guy would have words underneath, just so in case I like forgot anything. Because David, I will say, he wanted the words. Like I was allowed to improv, but he needed the story to like, and he's right. Like it needed to be that way.
So tell me a little bit about working on Return of the Living Dead. This is a cult classic you're in.
Yeah. Which,
A cult series. I mean, It's a franchise.
Totally. Yeah, it is a franchise. I did the fourth one and the fifth one. And they get such bad like we're slaughtered like for once it came out, really. And like horror genre, like the critics, they are tough.
Yeah.
Luckily they were very kind to me, because that was still like my second movie. That was my first lead, you know. And so I had, if you ask anyone else that was in that, like actor wise, they will call it the R factor, and they will not speak. They just don't want to talk about it.
Peter Coyote won't talk about it at all.
Oh, I'm sure. I love him. God bless him.
I love Peter too.
Oh gosh, if you ever see him, tell him if he remembers me. Hey, like we were in the depths of a Romanian prison that was closed down, and like it was freezing, and then it started torrentially down. Like you people don't understand what we went through. And we're in a third world country, and like one of the actors got sick, so then we had to shut down production. We had to recast her part, but we didn't film them in like separate. We filmed them not in succession, so then we had to redo it. The script ended up not making sense on either end, and we did the best we could, but I made the most of it. So when we had 2 weeks down, me, Greg Funk, amazing, John Fulich, the special effects people, we went on a road trip, and we explored all of like the country. We went to the Black Sea. I really, really had the most incredible experience doing those.
Romania is absolutely beautiful.
It is so beautiful. There was one point when we were driving through the Carpathian Mountains, and I started crying. And then I was like, and I'm writing in my journal, and I'm like, why am I crying? And I realized like it was breathtakingly beautiful, and I was just so grateful that I got to experience that.
Did you visit Dracula's castle?
Yes, all of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
We went to Brasov. We went to, randomly we were in, we drove by this town. I can't remember it. I think it was Brasov. And there was a concert happening, and we had credentials from set, so we put them on, and then we snuck in thinking like, oh no, we're supposed to be here.
Romania, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, we're like, we're from America. They're like, oh yeah. And Pink was playing.
Oh,
she was singing. Pink was singing Janis Joplin music, songs in Romania. And I was like, where am I? Like this, it was so phenomenal. It was magic. I loved it.
I did a press tour for a movie called Heart's War with Bruce Willis, and we were in Czechoslovakia.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I remember was just how wonderful the people were.
Yeah.
Because they're always trying to cook you something. They're always trying to feed you. Is that true in Romania? The catering. How was the catering for the film? They serve you goat's eyes and things like that next to the tablers.
Yes, but yeah, no catering. No, I was a vegetarian. I
forced to be.
Like, well, I was glad. I ate a lot of bread, a lot of rolls, and a lot of cheese, because I could not. I think one time, I swear they served us monkey brains or something, and I was like, mm-mm. And they like chopped it up, like said it was stew. Yeah, no, the catering wasn't, it's not something that I would write home about. But I will say, I had my birthday because my birthday's in August 19th, and the producer, Anatoly, he and his wife got like Red Bull to sponsor. I just came to set, and I was like, why am I on set like tonight? Because I only had one part, and they like drove me to set, and I was like, ugh. And when I drove, it was a party scene. They planned the filming for that, and they threw a big party for me. Everyone was drinking Red Bull. There was sparklers. They made this huge cake that I had to bring back to my room, and I'm like, how am I going to eat all this? It had like lady fingers on it. I just felt so special. People gave me, like the extras that were on set with us, everyone gave me presents, and oh my God, I get goosebumps thinking about it. It was so nice.
What a wonderful memory.
I know. And so then when people talk crap about the movies, I'm like, but you don't understand. We tried.
What's the worst thing that's happened to you on a set?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So far, the worst thing that's happened to me on set, the first thing that popped into my mind was when I was filming a pilot, and I was told my character was doing a certain thing. Like, basically, it was just supposed to be from here up, right?
Yeah.
And then I get to set, and they're like, here's your robe, and here's your pasties. And I was like, excuse me? Yeah. And I'm panicking because in LA, like, if you won't do it, there's 9,000 other people that will be in line, and you're at risk at losing. But this wasn't in my contract. I didn't know. I was basically ankle chained to a wall. They're in a basement, like in a building, but like in the ground floor on cement. They took my robe away, and basically, it was awful. And then one of the workers bent down and said, "Oh, I bet you feel like," I forget what he said, but I looked at him and I said, "I know you probably have a family and you need to feed them. Please walk away before I actually say something, because this is not right." It was awful. And I'm so glad, not for the people that were working on it, like, that needed that job, but I'm glad it never got picked up, because I was like, I can't believe this is happening. Like, there was a guy pulling my legs, like insinuating, and they were just filming my face. And I'm like, why did you have to, like, literally, I felt tortured. I felt violated. It was awful.
I think a lot of women go through this, or did go through this, because of that feeling of, well, somebody else I got to get paid. I got to have this job. And
Well, yeah, one job begets another job, right? So it's not even about the money. It's about being able to work and do what you love.
yeah,
But what I love is not lying naked on the ground with a bunch of guys standing around and pretending to violate me. You know?
I just think that's to surprise them. I mean, if they discussed it with you while you were signing your contract, and
Exactly. I definitely would have said no.
Yeah.
Like, no. I remember I did get a horror movie. I got one of the leads, and my manager at the time was so excited, and I had flown back to East Coast, and they sent me the script, and then they're like, all right, here's the contract. You have to sign it and then mail it right back. And so I look, and I was going to get like $20,000 for 2 weeks of work, which I really needed.
Sure.
And then they're like, oh, here's the revision. Someone sent me a revised script, and I looked at the added part, and I was like, whoa, that wasn't, and I was like, I'm not signing this contract. They added a part in there which made no sense to the script. None. I'm so glad I didn't do that movie. It was like the worst scene. And I told my manager at the time, I was like, I'm not doing this movie. And he's like, well, you have to. It's $20,000. And I was like, sorry. I have boundaries. I plan on, being in the long haul, and I'm not going to do cheap shots for cash.
We just came out of a long era of men abusing women, producers, or whoever it was, studio heads even, and the casting couch, I think, is still there. But we have a lot more women now in positions of power, running studios and directing, and
Mm-hmm.
and do you get a feeling that it's safer now for women?
In Utah, it's safer. I feel like it's been a stigma that has just become normal. Like, I assume when I go onto a set that these jokes are going to be made, these little innuendos. Like, in LA, you weren't allowed to say you had a boyfriend or say you were married. And that's what I kind of found refreshing about Utah, is that everyone was married, and they were like, oh, they're very family oriented. And like, I felt safe on sets because I didn't feel like I had to be this product of,
Yeah.
Do I think it's changing? I hope so. I haven't, like I said, I took a break from LA, so I haven't noticed it
The
is
other
not.
thing that's always been interesting to me, and something about Hollywood that I don't like, is men can get away with being older, gray hair, going older. Women, it seems like by 36, there's no parts for you. You're a grandmother at 36.
Yeah.
That, thank God we have Helen Mirren. Thank God we have the actresses that have
Oh,
blazed
for
that trail
sure.
too.
Well,
Because
and they look at the number. Like IMDb, I think is very. I don't understand why they're adamant about posting private information and then not taking it down, because somebody put my birthday on IMDb, and there's ageism, like you're saying, like in Hollywood, and they look at the number. I can't play a 45-year-old person on camera. Like I can't. I'm not 45, but they'll send me out for 45, and then I won't book it because I'm not 45. But they're like, well, you're not 20, so you can't go out. It's crazy.
it is
I
crazy.
say, like, that's what's good about theater is you can play any age. But I feel like they shouldn't go by this number.
Yeah.
Age doesn't even exist anyway. Like humans made time. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Let's talk about your latest movie, or the one that's being premiered this week. It's
yeah.
Behind You. It's a horror film that you actually shot on it's a very small budget, but boy, it's creepy as hell.
Did you see it? I haven't seen it yet, but it was very creepy making it. Very creepy.
Do you get easily spooked?
I do. I grew up in Cape Cod, and it's one of the first settled towns like in America. And so I grew up around a lot of like haunted houses. So it depends. Like if I'm watching like a gory movie, I'm going to laugh and I'm going to be like, oh, that doesn't spook me. But haunted houses per se, yes. Like I was terrified in that house that we filmed in, like the whole time, because I can just sense like, oh my God, something happened here.
So growing up in Cape Cod, I mean, you grew up around all those wonderful old Victorian houses. Doesn't Stephen King live up near? I guess he lives in Massachusetts.
Maine. I think he lives in Maine. Yeah, Bangor, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that whole area out there is just one big creep fest.
Oh, totally. Yes, there was some Halloweens that we weren't allowed to go out because people were sacrificing cats and putting them in mailboxes.
The Purge, the real Purge, is happening in.
Oh, it was. Yeah, in the 80s or the 90s or whatever.
And yet, Halloween is probably your favorite holiday.
Yes.
See,
yes.
because it's free candy, I suppose.
Yeah, well, and I live near Salem, so that was like the Salem witches. Yeah, and free candy.
Yeah, going to a good witch burning, is a big event in the 1300s.
Sure.
Anyway, but talking about Behind You, you're working with
yes.
Elizabeth Berkner, and I've known Elizabeth for a little bit. I mean, she's only like 14 or 15, but
I know.
What a great actress she is turning out.
I know. She just turned 14, and like she was 11 when we filmed it.
And she could play 45, I think.
I think if she wanted to, she'd probably have to just like lower her voice a little bit. But she has the chops to do it.
She has
definitely.
the skills. Well,
yeah.
And the thing is that when you have a cast that really likes each other too, it shows.
Mm-hmm.
It shows that you have that there is a shortcut to hitting whatever it is being in the moment. There's a shortcut to getting there.
Yeah, which is always a hard thing. Like when you're doing a low budget movie, you don't have much time to build those relationships. Yeah, so it's important. It was great that we, the girls, like her and Addie, like they really felt like sisters by the end. And I think that's important for something like that. Like it's helpful.
As we're wrapping up and chatting, what about the future? Are you going to direct? Are you going to be producing more?
Everyone always tells me you'd be a great producer and director. Maybe, yeah. I'm going to do it all.
Well,
I do have some scripts that I've been sitting on like ideas. I just need to get them done. Like one in particular that is close to my heart. I won't say like on camera because people steal stuff.
Do they really do that? I've never had anybody steal anything from me.
Oh yeah, I've had songs stolen from me. I've had people get record deals by stealing a song and saying it was theirs. And this is fine. It's fine.
Wow. Well, there's
Yeah.
a special place in hell for those people.
I wish them well.
Yeah. They have to do dinner theater in Jupiter, Florida, forever. That's their hell.
Oh my gosh. I've never been there, but I do like Jupiter.
Do you miss doing theater? Do you miss being live on stage?
I still do it sometimes. So I get the little bug, but when I'm doing it, I do. And then I'll miss. Yeah. I mean, but not as much. Like I really love film and TV. Like
Is there a part you would like to play from any Broadway musical?
Oh, well, I missed my shot at Mary Lennox in Secret Garden, but I really love playing in Little Shop of Horrors, Audrey.
Yeah.
I did that at
Somewhere
Egyptian.
I love that song.
Yeah, I know. In Park City, I did that.
Oh, really?
I was in Little Shop of Horrors, and I was Audrey.
I come from musical theater myself, but I'm not a singer. I'm more of a performer, and so
Yeah.
I did.
You could be in like Guys and Dolls.
I should be. I lived that life actually, but I did Pilot. I played Pilot in Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh, lovely.
On a very weird kind of community type theater thing in LA that we had a lot of Barry Van Dyke, I think, was involved in it, and a few other people. But I want to do a play again. I want to get back up and just, at my age, is play some of those roles that I played as younger.
Sure.
With makeup to make me look. Now I look the part. I should be a natural.
Yeah.
I always get a little nervous, thinking, well, God, I got to learn lines. But once you
get it.
Yeah.
There's an app I can show you. It's called Rehearsal 2. It helps me memorize lines. My dream role is Eponine. I want to play.
Oh,
Don't
my
you
gosh.
bet, Monsieur Marias, I don't feel any pain. I know.
See, I think film-wise, anything Emily Blunt can do, you can do.
Oh, okay.
I kind of look at you like, wow, you could do anything. You could play, and Emily's played like action heroes. She's played villains. She's played Mary Poppins. I think you can do all that.
Yeah, she has. Well, thank you.
I'll put you in touch with her and John, and we'll talk.
They can, write me in.
Sure, your script. That's people love that when you give headshots and scripts to directors.
Oh my God, they love it. They love reading it.
Yeah.
One of my friends, was it Josh Olson? He says he wrote something. I won't read your script or something.
Yeah.
I won't read your. Do you know that?
Why?
That article? It's like a famous article.
Yeah.
I love it.
I
am friends with a lot of writers.
I just did that with Steven Spielberg a couple of weeks ago. I've known Steven. I'm dropping names like hell here, but I've known Steven. We were introduced. I was introduced to Steven by Rod Serling, the guy that created the Twilight Zone. Rod and I were his family, and I were family. And every time I see Steven, I always tell him I'm going to give him a headshot and a script, and he just laughs his ass up because everybody does that to him.
I'm sure.
Yeah, there you go.
I could never.
Aimee Lynn Chadwick, you are a doll to talk to. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're a delight. You've made my Thursday.
My final question: do you cosplay? Do you go to like Comic Cons and have some fun?
I've gone to Comic Cons where I'm on panels for like movies, and then I did do the little crowd surfing.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have a bag of wigs. I'm always dressing up. Like every day is Halloween.
What a great title for your autobiography. A Bag of Wigs. Aimee Lynn Chadwick story.
Bag of wigs. Yes. You know what? That's brilliant, actually.
I want the t-shirts for that.
Instead of many hats.
I have a bag of wigs.
I love that. I'm writing that down.
Please do.
I'm
Anyway,
trademarking it, so
sure.
No one else can take it.
We
I'll give
never
you
said
10%.
this, but you and I have known each other for a long time. But I keep saying, we could have been better friends. I don't know why. I think I'm scared of you because you're so
You're
famous.
scared of me?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I know. I can't even leave the house. Oh,
I
wait.
know the paparazzi is just terrible out there.
Yeah.
How are your dogs doing? Are they settling down today?
Yes. My one dog, she's little and old. She has diabetes. She's fine. She sleeps. But our puppy is a husky poodle,
Oh gosh.
and she has FOMO, and she's not used to being. She just wants to go outside and like run free, and
She
she's
wants
so
to
sweet.
experience what your experience is at the same time.
Yeah.
She wants to be part of everything.
She wants her paw on my foot at all times.
Well,
She's the fluffiest, cutest thing. But yeah.
indulge them during this time of quarantine.
Yeah. That I want to make a note. Like, a lot of people are complaining, like, when are we I am thriving down here. I'm like, down here in my cave. I love this. I think it's a gift. Like, if we can all, yes, I have my bad days where I'm like, what is going on with the world? But I feel like it's a gift for us to hone our things that we never have time to do.
Well, I just think that's because you're an INFP or whatever that is, and you just thrive by being alone. Me, I have to go and I have to have coffee out, and I have to go to a restaurant once in a while, and so that's I feel like a prisoner.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll just make believe.
I do.
Like,
I built a Starbucks in my backyard, and
you did? I'm coming.
it's a mock Starbucks, but
Get one of those go-go gadget like things, and
yeah, the two of us in this conversation know who Inspector Gadget is. That's really kind of cool.
I know. And Penny.
Yeah.
I want to play Penny.
I'll be his boss, so I can't remember his name.
Oh, the Claw.
Yeah, the Craw.
The Craw.
Yeah. This has been so much fun. Let's do it again soon.
Yeah.
And
anytime.
When this quarantine is lifted, I'm taking you out for a cup of Joe, as we used to say in the day.
That sounds lovely.